Prepare yourself for a wild ride through the darkest corners of Wild West lore, where reality defies belief. Buckle up as we unravel the chilling truths behind the myths. Welcome to Timeless Frames channel. Iron White Man, Sioux Indian in Buffalo Bill's Wild West Show. This frame reflects the Buffalo Bill's Wild West Show, boasted performers from all walks of life and cultures, including Native Americans like Iron White Man, a Sioux Indian. Iron White Man, representing many cultures at Buffalo Bill's Wild West Show, is an example of this popular extravaganza that featured different talents and cultures around the world. Iron White Man played many important roles in shaping public understanding about Native American culture and history, thus leaving behind significant marks within entertainment industry forevermore. American Civil War soldier clowning for the camera. This photograph captures a Civil War soldier clowning around during his photo session, providing us with insight into humor during war times. The joviality of this soldier contrasts sharply against most images we have seen depicting soldiers' lives, offering lightheartedness amid historic tragedies. Here also lies testament to man's resilience shown through finding levity even when faced with utmost hardships, such as those experienced throughout American Civil War period, where these men remained friends till death did them apart. A woman and her horse jumping over a convertible at a rodeo. In this thrilling image taken during a rodeo, we see a woman leaping her horse over a convertible. Just another day in the Wild West. Rodeos were all about showing off cowboy skills and daring feats like these. They would have made any Hollywood stuntman proud. These kinds of stunts were designed to showcase both the skillfulness and courage necessary for successful participation within rodeos, which added an extra-level excitement surrounding them, especially when performed by women riders during that era where they were still fighting tooth nail against gender discrimination everywhere they went in society, but more particularly here within West, where men thought only themselves capable enough. Wow, you guys also enjoy and practice horse jumping. Slave auction house in Atlanta, 1864. The 1864 picture of a slave auction house in Atlanta is a jarring reminder of the price people paid for slavery. During the Civil War era, Southern United States held auctions that were enslavement-based activities showing the darker side of humanity, where people were treated as property and stripped off their basic human rights. This photograph serves as an important visual representation on how cruelly some individuals were treated under American system, while also acting as catalyst for ongoing discussions around race relations in America today. Mountain men of the American West. In this frame, we idealize the mountain men from the Wild West were hardy pioneers who explored uncharted territories and trapped animals for fur, which helped sustain early settlers in those areas. These people had exceptional skills necessary for survival, such as hunting, trapping, map reading, etc. They went through very rough terrains, thus opening up trading routes across what was then known as wilderness or untamed West. Legacy left behind by these adventurous frontiersmen underscores their significant contribution towards exploring America's western part, thereby shaping its history forevermore. Always learn skills so you guys serve your society. Any one of you has skills like this? Gano, a fierce indigenous leader. This frame shows the Gano was a fierce indigenous chief that fought against settlers' encroachment into his tribe's territory and led resistance efforts aimed at protecting them from any further harm. At this critical time when many native tribes were confronted with violent dislocations due to conflicts over land ownership rights, Gano stood tall among other leaders like him by demonstrating resiliency during such difficult periods until they achieved victory over their oppressors. In recognition of his bravery as an intrepid warrior king who never gave up despite all odds stacked against him, Gano will always be remembered not only within, but also outside Native communities throughout different parts of the world, because he represents true spirit, indomitable courage displayed by Native peoples worldwide when faced with adversity imposed upon them through colonialism. Cowboys at a bar in Tascosa, Texas, 1907. This frame follows a group of cowboys enjoy each other's company over drinks inside an old Western saloon located somewhere within Tascosa. The image provides insight into the social life and leisure activities of cowboys, reflecting the community and social dynamics of the Wild West. The photograph underscores the importance of social gatherings in frontier life, illustrating the balance between work and leisure in the lives of cowboys. Arizona's taxation on prostitution in the 19th century. The stunning image shows the Arizona taxed prostitution during the 19th century as a way to both control it and generate revenue, which shows how complex frontier laws and economics could be. This tax was just one part of broader efforts at managing various aspects of life on the frontier, indicating the social and legal challenges that arose during this time period. The taxation of prostitution in Arizona demonstrates frontier attempts at regulating vice and dealing with its societal problems, contributing to wider knowledge about governing the Wild West. I think now we also need such prostitutions in 21st century to manage our social challenges. What do you think? Pew Indians in Utah, 1872. Taken in 1872, this photograph depicts Pew Indians living in Utah and provides insights into their culture during a time when it was significantly changing because of white colonization. Faced with new American settlements around them in shifting policies towards native tribes by Washington, D.C., the Pew people were under pressure like many other groups across North America. What we see here is an image capturing some moment before these disruptions occurred among them, forever altering their traditional ways. By acting as a kind of historical record for us today, this picture offers valuable glimpses into who these individuals were, but also how such external forces shape their lives forever afterwards. Something that cannot be ignored if we are truly interested, not only understanding ourselves better through others' experiences, but also respecting different cultures which make up our world today. Bill Duan and the Wild Bunch Gang. In this stunning image, we see Bill Duan was a criminal who belonged to an infamous group called the Wild Bunch Gang. He became known both for his own wrongdoings as well as associations with other criminals at large during that era too, such like Butch Cassidy, etc. The Wild Bunch Gang, led by figures like Butch Cassidy, became notorious for their robberies and escapes. Duan's role in the gang exemplifies the criminal networks of the time. Bill Duan's association with the Wild Bunch Gang contributes to the enduring fascination with outlaw groups and their impact on Wild West history. Men gambling in an Arizona bar. This picture shows a group of men playing poker in a dusty bar in Arizona. Their faces are full of concentration and friendship as glasses clink and people talk softly all around them. In the Wild West, gambling took place most often at saloons where fortunes could change hands in seconds. This was one such bar, frequented by cowboys and outlaws. As towns grew larger and laws became stricter, gambling moved out of saloons and into more regulated establishments. However, the culture of high-stakes betting persisted and transformed to become what we now know as modern casinos. Buffalo skulls in Michigan. A photograph depicting buffalo skulls scattered across Michigan landscape as symbols for how greatly Western expansion affected bison populations there within a span of few decades only. Bones starkly contrasting against Earth tells an ecological story about change itself. During 19th century railroads expanded rapidly throughout U.S. leading mass killings, millions upon millions of buffalo, driven by demand hides mostly used, make robes, blankets, clothing, etc. Such depletion had devastating impact. Tribes relied heavily, these creatures meet basic needs, food, shelter, warmth, thus causing near extinction. Certain groups themselves dependent upon them entirely. Since then, people have tried bring back buffalo, still number what they once did in past. This serves as a reminder what can happen when we take over everything around us without considering consequences, which could be irreversible. Can you imagine how horror was that era? Indian boarding schools. This photo displays an American Indian boarding school where Native American children were brought up under restrictive conditions aimed at assimilating them culturally into American society. Boarding schools were created to embrace Native American children into Western culture, often involving cruel discipline and the suppression of indigenous languages and customs. Native American history contains a painful episode in its legacy in the form of boarding schools. There are ongoing endeavors addressing the trauma as well as supporting healing and preservation of the Native cultures. The historic Battle of Little Bighorn. Custer's forces engage in conflict with Sioux and Cheyenne warriors, resulting to a dramatic scene, capturing the battle's intensity and scale. The battle, also known as Custer's Last Stand, involved U.S. troops against Native Americans, with General Custer suffering a major defeat. This battle is significant in that it marks one key event among many others in the course of Indian wars. It is symbolic for Indians who resisted colonization. It was reviewed by strategists for lessons on military tactics, techniques, procedures, MTP, and other historical reasons. The pioneer spirit of wagon trains. Pioneers' determination and courage as they traveled westward is illustrated through wagon trains crossing prairies. Early settlers' hopes and struggles are revealed in this picture. During 19th century migration waves, pioneers frequently relied on wagon trains while moving towards new territories. These immigrants had to wrestle with different challenges, including severe weather conditions as well as tough terrain. It is an integral part of America's westward expansion, which defines what shaped American history, overcoming challenges across uncharted territories full of unknowns. The tale has turned into a symbol for persistence, boldness by now. The life of a frontier blacksmith. An image shows a frontiersman at work making tools or fixing broken ones at his forge. It precedes how crucial blacksmiths were towards frontier life support system, especially industry. Blacksmiths played an important role serving frontier communities, supplying them with everyday necessities such as farm implements for agriculture, amongst other things required for survival. This work was indispensable for the success of frontier settlements. The trade still reminds us of how important blacksmithing was during colonial times. They contributed to America's first industries and settlements. The legacy of the Trail of Tears. A picture with emphasis on the suffering experienced by Native American tribes who were forced to move shows hardships related to their trek on the Trail of Tears. This image portrays an emotional and physical toll paid by this tribe. Cherokees and other tribes forcibly moved from their ancestral homes to designated Indian territory, which claimed many lives and caused cultural disruptions. This is what is referred to as the Trail of Tears. It remains a potent symbol in which contemporary actions are aimed at commemorating its victims, as well as dealing with last effects concerning historic trauma. Historical Virginia City. Crowded streets of Virginia City are displayed here as a vibrant boomtown, illustrating the economic thrill and fast growth during its prosperous mining era. The picture portrays life in the city, which has been described as exuding with dynamism. A surge in population characterized Nevada's Virginia City when silver was discovered in the mid-19th century. That led to significant economic activity and a blending of cultures occasioned by the exchange of various goods and services. Virginia City remains an attraction for history tourists who desire to explore the western frontiers. It serves as an elaborate reminder of mining times and their effects on the region. The Wounded Knee Massacre. This aftermath shows how tragic it became when U.S. soldiers battled against Sioux fighters at Wounded Knee Creek. The image emphasizes just how much this event cost people. U.S. troops killed hundreds of Sioux, including women and children, during the 1890 massacre at Wounded Knee, ending Indian Wars, something that has remained one of the darkest moments in American history. It stands out as a poignant example of violent confrontations between Native Americans and U.S. authorities. Its consequences still contribute to discussions about Native rights and historical memory. John Wesley Harden, an infamous outlaw. There is a picture of John Wesley Harden, who was considered a dangerous criminal with the gun in his hand and blood on his face. His aggressive look and clothing reveal his eerie personality. It is well known that he was involved in many offenses against law enforcement officers, as well as take part in any other kinds of violent crimes. As a result, he earned himself a reputation for being one of the most dangerous criminals during the Wild West era. Governed by mindless violence, history of John Wesley Harden stands out vividly as characterized by this frontier lawlessness. The portrayal of villains historically and through media continues to be historically correct. How awkward and horror look he had. Why he was like this. Tell us in comment section. Just when you thought you'd seen it all, the Wild West hides one last chilling surprise. Stay tuned for what comes next, because the truth is far from over. Thank you for watching and giving us your precious time. See you in the next video. Goodbye.